If I had to start from $0 in 2026, this is exactly what I would do. Let me save you the next 6 months of wasting your time watching endless YouTube tutorials, step-by-step tutorials, and eventually not making any progress. Look guys, we're getting into the new year, and a big issue that a lot of people make is not wanting something, but not knowing how to get it. A lot of you guys already know that you want to make money online, you want to make this game work. However, not a lot of you guys know exactly how to do it. And the beautiful thing about my position is that I was exactly in your situation just a couple of years ago, contemplating between different business models, not understanding who to trust and who to trust, and at the end of the day, just not knowing what to do. And you're not alone. So many individuals are in this boat to where they know they want 2026 to be their year. They know they want to change. They know they want to make money online. They just don't know how. I think a majority of the people that are on this side of the internet, that are on this side of YouTube, already know that they need to make a change and they need to take action, but you guys just don't know how. And for you guys who don't know who I am, my name is Samir. I've made over $30 million online over the last couple of years. We have a portfolio of e-commerce brands that sell all types of different products. I started with dropshipping and I started to build actual e-com brands online. And today I leverage AI to do a majority of the work for me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I would do if I started with $0 in 2026. Now, the first step that I would get into if I was starting over in 2026 is what I like to call commitment. A majority of you guys struggle with commitment. And commitment is one of those things to where it's a double-edged sword, right? Because shiny object syndrome is what got you into this world in the first place, but it's the exact thing that's gonna stop you from growing. You need to be able to be distracted enough to want to try something new, but you need to be not distracted enough to where you can't focus on that specific thing. And I think the issue in today's day and age is a lot of people are misunderstanding. If you're lacking focus on a particular business model, you will never see success. And the issue in today's age is not a lack of information, but it's too much information. With step-by-step tutorials on literally every business model out there, with thousands of new gurus coming onto the space every single week, it's gonna be extremely hard for some of you guys to focus, and I completely get it. When I was starting out my journey, I found it hard to focus. I didn't know if I wanted to do dropshipping, if I wanted to do agency, and there was a point in my life where I was trying multiple different models without realizing how detrimental that is for my success. And one of the better things that you guys need to do is focus on one particular thing. When you're getting into this game of entrepreneurship, when you're getting into this game of online money, the money is made in focus, right? And you don't want to get distracted by new opportunities. You need to kind of pinpoint an opportunity, pinpoint the goals you want, and just focus on that. Don't overcomplicate it by trying other business models that you don't even know about. When you try other models that you might not even be educated in, you are now restarting the game every single time. And this even goes into e-commerce. Again, as you guys know, I've made all my money with e-commerce. And when it comes to e-com specifically, you don't want to overthink your niches. You don't want to overthink your products. You don't want to overthink your suppliers. You want to be very intentional and very one-sided when it comes to a lot of these things. For us, for example, we're very structured in how we test. For a particular product, we only test products that we like to call insecurity-based products that sell some sort of insecurity. The example of this could be a hair care product. We have a hair care brand that does over $10 million a year, and that is a primary example of us kind of selling based off insecurity. Like, okay, hey, you have hair loss, try this product, you won't have hair loss anymore. As simple as that. When it comes to suppliers, we've been using the same supplier for over 4 years. It's the same supplier we give to all of our students inside of Brandify. Link is in bio if you're interested. But again, don't overcomplicate it, super simple. Same thing with ads, we don't overcomplicate ads. See ads working for competitors, we literally just rip the same concept and do it for our brand, and that's how we scale. So again, the game is way simpler than you guys think on every single level, being a macro level of deciding what business model you're doing, and even a micro level to when you're doing that actual particular business model. Just do not overcomplicate it. That's the main thing. Now, again, if it comes to my particular situation, if I was starting at 0 in 2026, I would do AI e-commerce. And that gets into my next thing, AI. I would 110% be using AI in the start of 2026, and I would be a fool and I would be a dumbass if I didn't. AI is completely speed run every business model, particularly e-commerce, and even more specifically, brand building, which is what we do, as a lot of you guys have been following me for a while now. Brand building is where the money is at. Building an online brand where people can trust the product, people don't go to Amazon to buy the same thing and people are actually attached to the product you're selling is where the money is at. That's how you win in e-commerce. You will not make money in e-com in 2026 if you don't have some sort of brand. And the best thing about that, guys, is you can create all of this with AI. And that goes into my second point again. I would be using the crap out of AI in 2026. There is so many tools for every aspect of e-commerce. Like obviously I would be doing e-commerce like I mentioned, but more specifically, we would be utilizing AI as much as we possibly can. Tools like ArcAds, which actually allow you to create your own paid actors for your videos, which again, we have no affiliation with, or tools as simple as Midjourney, where you can create images for your products like that, or tools like Flare AI, where you can create product images like that, or even on Canva. Canva has AI tools which you can then create products and create mock-up images for your product like that. Atlas AI is another one where you can straight up just create websites with AI like that. There's so many tools out there that leverage AI that have made it so easy for people to not only start, but also scale in e-com. Nowadays, you don't need to hire a designer. You don't need to hire a creative strategist. You don't need to hire anything anymore. AI does the majority of the work for you. In some of the recent videos, we were talking about AI product research methods that you guys can follow. For example, going to promptcowboy.com, telling Prompt Cowboy, hey, look, take a look at the top 10 supplements selling on Amazon. I need a new list of supplements I can sell on Shopify. It gives you a prompt, you put that into ChatGPT, and now you have AI product research. There's so many micro examples of this that I would be indulging in 2026, and it would be my main focus. It would be, how do I start an e-commerce brand and how do I leverage AI in every single aspect of this brand to make as much money as possible? For example, just to show you guys my screen here to go over one of the tools I mentioned earlier being ArcAds. Very simple tool. Again, we have no affiliation with them. You can easily just create your own basically creator. Like you create your own person for your ads, right? Because a lot of the times with e-com, if you guys don't know, you are running paid ads to get traffic on your website so people buy the product. And by the way, if you want a more intensive video on how you can do e-commerce in 2026 and how we do e-com, we have a big guide video. I'll put it somewhere on the screen, which we kind of dive into it. It's like a free course. But again, if you guys see right here, it's very, very, very easy to do it. You can easily create a script like I did right here. You pick a creator like down here. So again, there's so many different actors you guys can use. All these actors are very realistic and they're all AI, right? Easily generated video. So as you can see, all the creators here are very ultra realistic. It's insanely accurate. And we've made millions with this specific tool. And again, no affiliation. So it's just what we've used and I know it would work for you guys. But this is one example of a tool that's really good that you guys can use. And like I mentioned, guys, there are so many of these tools out there that you guys can easily just utilize to make so much money. ArcAds, like I just mentioned, you can even use ChatGPT prompted correctly. Remember, prompting is very important. ChatGPT to come up with the scripts. And then on top of that as well, to even launch the ads now, there's hustle.ai, which connects to your ad account and helps you launch ads. So there's new AIs coming up every single day. And the first thing I'd be doing in 2026 is breaking down the business model to multiple online guides, like similar to what you guys are watching, and break down every process to how can I do this with AI. Now, step 3 of what I would do if I had to start with zero starting in 2026 is pretty simple. And that would literally just be following the volume game. What I mean by volume is the one thing a lot of people lack when they get into entrepreneurship as a whole, not even just e-commerce. And that is, can you follow a strict structure of doing the input, right? So what I mean by that is in e-commerce, for example, you're testing products, right? Like if you guys have watched the other videos, you kind of know how the game works with e-com. You're testing products until you find that one winning product and then boom, you can scale it to the moon. That's how all these winning brands work. So what I would be doing is putting a set amount of products I need to test weekly. So whatever that's 3 products a week, 5 products a week, whatever it is. Me personally, and what we teach in our Side Out program is 2 to 3 products a week is more than enough, especially if you're following the testing strategy that we say is the best for brand building or e-commerce in general, which is what we'd like to call progressive creative overload. What that means is when you test a product, you test 5 ads a day for that product for about 3 to 4 days. And if it doesn't work within those 3 to 4 days, then you cut the product, right? So that means that if the product itself is break even, let's say within that 3 to 4 day range, you will keep testing ads every single day because eventually it might start to work really well. If the product is, let's say, negative, we have a 150 in the red rule that we like to follow. So if the product is negative 150, then you would then again stop testing creatives for that product because it's not working anymore. And obviously, if it's plus whatever, if it's in profit, you will then keep testing products or keep testing and scaling, right? I would be following a very structured testing strategy, also trying to test 2 to 3 products a week. That would just be the minimum. So no matter what is happening in my life, no matter if I'm going through hardship or something's going on, I will always make sure to follow that rule. Because if I don't follow that, I'm breaking my game of volume. And this is the exact process that we follow and all our students do as well. I mean, we have students doing over 100K a day. We do over $1 million a month with our own stores. We see this work the best when you're testing progressively with any business model, but let's go specific to e-com. When you're testing progressively, you will end up seeing more success. So I would make sure that getting into this game of e-com, starting with $0, I would make sure I would test progressively, because how else am I going to see success, right? Because a lot of people have a backwards testing mentality and it doesn't really work. Now, step 4 kind of ties into step 3. Now that I've identified how I'm testing the products, how I'm building the brands, what I'm doing, what I'm going for, I will 100% try and optimize for finding the right product. So step 4 goes into my product research method, or simplifying my product research method, which is picking the right products, right? So when it comes to the products that I pick, the best way to see success with e-commerce and getting that impulsive purchase is by selling a product that people feel that they need, right? When you're selling products like furniture and apparel and all these other things, it's very hard for a beginner e-commerce person to get into that, or even an advanced person to scale, because the demand for that's very diminishing. Whereas if you do like hair care, for example, it's very easy to sell a hair care product, because the people that are going through hair loss, they're looking for a solution. They're every day reminded about this. And you can really mold the marketing angles and really be aggressive with it. I hate to be that person that says like, oh, you have to be aggressive to make money and you have to, just exploit insecurities, because I know it doesn't sound the best, but it's just me being honest. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it to you guys and say you can just drop ship couches and become a millionaire. That doesn't really work. Like, if you really wanna scale and you wanna scale fast, you gotta be honest with yourself. And I'm glad I can be the one honest with you guys and tell you, you need to push some sort of insecurity on the customer. If someone has hair thinning, you tell them like hair thinning is only gonna get worse. And if you don't treat your hair loss now, it's gonna be horrible. And all the solutions in the market suck. You need to use our natural oil. You will get sales and you will scale. That's how the game works. And again, a lot of people will sugarcoat it and not tell you how it is, but this is just how the raw reality of making money is. So when it comes to picking out the product, I'd make sure to find these insecurity-based products. Now, in terms of where you're looking, because I know a lot of people are very anal about where they look for products, whatever it be on platforms like Callow Data or whatever, like I mentioned before, or whatever it be using AI for prompts, or whatever, they just go on Amazon. And by the way, we have a whole video onto this. I'll put it on the screen. It doesn't matter where you look as long as you have the right criteria. Some of the winning products that I found, and some students have found as well, is literally just products that pop up on their own feed. When they scroll on Instagram or they scroll on TikTok, they've gotten products that pop up on their feed that make amazing products, and products that they can go ahead and scale up to millions, and they have scaled to millions. There's been products before that I'm running to this day that I found that just popped up on my feed, right? So the most important thing is knowing what to look for when you're testing products. And that is my 4th step into, if I had to start with 0, what I would do is make sure I find insecurity-based products. Step 5 would be turning my store into a brand. So this is where the real money is made, and this is what we really like to teach inside of Brandify. So again, link is in bio if you guys want to find out about that. But when it comes to actually making real cash, you're not gonna get that far with just a one and done Shopify dropshipping store. Like, that's not where the success is. You've already utilized AI to build out a branded store and build out some brand images and ideally some ads of your own as well using ARC ads. It's important to build things into like a real brand, right? So a big factor in that is optimizing your offer, coming up with a branded offer, having branded stock as well, since ideally when something starts to work, you are reinvesting that money into making it into an actual brand. Having a proper customer journey. So what that means is having like email pop-ups on the store using Klaviyo, also having Google ads up. So a lot of the times when you guys start running your e-commerce store, like we mentioned in other videos, you start with meta ads, right? When you start building it into a brand, you want to also have TikTok, you want to have Google, you want to start building what we like to call omnipresence, which is very important. Another one that is extremely important is a high creative output, right? To actually build a brand, it's more on the creative level than it is on anything. I'd be making sure that we're constantly pushing out a high volume of high quality creatives. These are creatives that speak to our ICP. These are creatives that speak to our customer, and these are creatives that get the conversion. I would double down, right? Meaning that if I see a product working, that means that it's making me profit. I would add subscription funnels. I would add more creatives, like I mentioned. I would add omnipresence. I would add emails, and I'll do all these extra things that, again, we talk about inside of Brandify to make it a real brand. The next step is what I like to call reading the logic. And this has been one of the most important factors to why I've been able to scale my stores and my brands year over year, growing, whereas multiple people are not able to do that. And this is actually one of the things that make me very different from a lot of people in, let's say, the specific e-commerce space, is that consistency in revenue between multiple brands showcases that we have some sort of formula. We have something that actually works, whereas it's not one-off brands. Like, it's not like just one brand I started when I was really young and I just made it into like a really big business. And it's not like small dropshipping stores that die off really quickly. It's a conglomerate of brands that we've actually been able to see consistent revenue with, and it's because of what we call reading logic. Now, what is reading logic? This is something that I actually have not talked about online ever, and it's something that I think is so important to a lot of people that do see success, and that is as simple as reading your data. One of the first things I do when I start seeing a store working, specifically in e-commerce obviously, is add a post-purchase survey. There's so many apps that do this, and if you just look up in the App Store, there's a billion of them. Adding a post-purchase survey and asking the right questions will give you data on what to do, right? So for example, we always have post-purchase surveys on all our stores, and we always ask the customers questions like, what other products do you guys want to see? Why did you buy this product? And just basic questions like, what was the main reason why you bought this product? Which competitors do you know about? What pushed you to buy this product? Certain questions that help you understand who you're selling to are ultimately going to be your golden bullet into scaling into the future. So you can find out more about your customer, you can sell them more products, you can find more products that align with your customer, you can find out why they bought your product and double down on those marketing angles. And just at the end of the day, reading your logic. And the easy way to do that is by having a post-purchase customer survey. A lot of people miss out on this, and I think it's a big reason why no one scales is because, and you're not seeing the logic behind why people are buying and who is buying, and how on earth are you going to make this into a real brand? You are not the customer, right? I sell hair care products. I don't use hair care products. I mean, we sell hair care products to women. I'm not a girl. So obviously I don't know what these people really want. I'm not the same group of people as these people. So I have to be very intentional about reading the data, not even just the post-purchase surveys, but also like looking at the ad account. Like most of these people that run e-commerce brands, they don't even look at the last 30 days of the ad account and just see the trends, because there are always going to be trends and patterns there. Applying those trends back into the business is how you find success. And reading the logic is something a lot of people overlook. And then the last thing I would do here is I would make sure I set everything up for a good exit. Most of the legitimate money that's made online is made through exits. You build a company, you get paid out from the company. So you obviously, if your company's making money, you're making money. And then eventually you start prepping and you sell. You can sell a brand within a year. You can sell a brand within 2 years. You can sell a brand whenever you want. I think a lot of people overlook the fact that there are actively people buying e-commerce brands out there. Doesn't matter if it's dropshipping, doesn't matter if it's not dropshipping, people are buying, right? You go to acquisition.com, you go to empireflippers.com, you go to flippa.com, you go to any of these online brokerages, you'll see so many e-commerce, specifically dropshipping businesses being sold for 6-figure, even 7-figure amounts. I know people, including myself, that have been able to sell brands and take home a large payout, a large chunk. The best way to go about it is you test the product, you find some success, you build a brand around it, and then you exit it within 1 to 2 years and you walk away with 7+ figures. That's just how the game works. And it's so simple when I say it out loud, but so many people look over these simple facts. Getting ready for exit is a conglomerate of many different things, like having a strong backend like customer service and whatnot, having a strong team, having your P&Ls and your accounting in place, making sure that you have some sort of recurring and predictable revenue through MRR streams and whatnot, and a whole lot of other things. Now, getting for exit is a very complex thing, and it's very high level. It's something that we talk a lot about inside of Brandify. We're partnered with a lot of brokerages, and that's one of the things that we actually help our students do. So let's say you started in e-commerce, you started to see some success, you started to make some money, and now you want to exit. You kind of need a little bit of assistance on setting things up because it is a unfamiliar road for a lot of people. So if you guys are interested, we do a lot of exit help inside of Brandify, which, as you know, is our community. And that's about it, guys. I mean, that's how I would restart if I started with $0 in 2026. It's not that hard. I know, when you watch a 20 to 30 minute video like this, you take your notes, everything's pre-laid out pretty clearly. It's not that hard. As I said earlier, it's a very simple game. You just find a winning product, you scale it up into a brand, and then eventually you exit that brand and you make money. That's the framework that I follow, and so many other individuals follow as well. And again, guys, if you're interested in having our one-on-one support, working with us, and potentially even having us invest in you and help build your own brand, specifically using AI, we do that inside of Brandify, which is the first link in bio. I hope to see you guys in there, and I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.